Your book, tell your partner what the definition of visual balance is. $2.28, somebody said?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Definition.
Jonathan, what page? 228.
228, right here. Now I see what you're doing.
So I'm going to be on YouTube. I'm going to be YouTube famous.
All right, definition.
As big as
Okay.
Charles.
Principle. Again, it's a rule. The principle of art concerned with equalizing, in other words, putting elements on both sides or colors or lines or whatever that seems like if you weighed them, they would be in balance. There's no way of weighing it like you can a real weight on a scale, but you can kind of look at a composition and tell whether it's balanced or not. And for the most part, we prefer things that are balanced because it feels a little more comfortable when things get out of balance. You saw that when I got out of balance. It was like, we're going to have a sub. Z's going to be in the hospital. All right. Yeah, one of these days that little trick will catch up with me. Okay, so when you look at the picture on page 228, very, very famous building. Does anybody? The Leaning Tower of Pisa. Okay, and why is it so famous?
Because it's
leaning.
And so it's visually off balance. So it fascinates people. In fact, there was a time when it started righting itself up because, the earth moves. And you know what they did? They made it lean some more because that's why people go to Pisa, to see this particular building. If it was straight up and down, it would still be an important building because it was built during a certain period, but it wouldn't have near the fascination that people have with this building. So balance does make a difference in how you react to things. Let's look at this particular picture right here. This is by Diego Rivera. It's on page 229. And what is the feeling here? What's the mood? Are they having a party?
Bananas.
No. Okay. Is it the same on both sides? No. Is it almost the same on both sides?
Yes.
Okay. So if it's almost the same on both sides, we can say that it is formally balanced. And usually there's something on one side to offset what's on the other side. So this up here is pretty much symmetrical. But down here, the girls, there's one with a braid. You see that? So that makes more weight. It feels heavier over here because of the dark color. Over here, how is it counterbalanced? This girl does not have a braid. What does she have?
A baby.
A baby, right. So that makes it a little more dark. You can't probably see it on the screen. You can probably only see it if you're looking at your book. All right. So that's what we call formal balance. So we're going to have two. We're going to have formal and informal. And the definition for that is on page 229. So go ahead and copy that down. And if it's equal, I'm going to put in parentheses, I'm adding something here. I'm throwing something in to throw you off. If it's equal on both sides, absolutely equal, it's called symmetrical, which you've probably learned in, or you've probably heard of mirror images. That's another way it's referred to. So when it's equal, or we can say very similar. Elements are placed on opposite sides of a central axis. What do we mean by central axis? If you turn the page and look on page, oh no, don't turn the page, sorry. It's on 228. There's a couple ways of dividing. You could, this is a central axis, dividing it vertically. Here's a central axis dividing the composition horizontally. So it's quite simply the same on both sides. Everybody got that? So, next thing, and the most importantly, because I think a lot of you have studied these in art before, but what I find is lacking is understanding of what they communicate. So formal balance communicates what? It can be a feeling or an adjective. And you already described some of the ways that, you know. So formal balance communicates what would be some possibilities.
Can you set it up?
Yes. Thank you for asking. Better?
Yes.
Did you get the bottom part there? Okay, so look at the picture again on 229 by Rivera called Flower Day. What kind of feeling is being communicated here? What's happening? What does it sound like? What does it feel like? If you were there, what, you know, how would you feel? Relaxed? Okay. Somewhat could be, I'm going to say if it was relaxed, we wouldn't have so much horizontal and vertical. There's not a lot of, there is curving up with the flowers up above. So relaxed is kind of, might be in some situations. This one here I don't feel as relaxed though. What's going on here? Anybody have any idea what Flower Day might be all about?
Flowers. Bananas.
Flowers? Okay, do you know what kind of flowers these are?
Banana flowers.
Calla lilies, and sometimes people call them peace lilies or something. Okay, and what seems to be happening here? How are the people positioned?
Serious.
On their knees. Okay, serious, did somebody say?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be one thing. Formal balance is serious. Okay, what else? What does it appear that this woman's doing?
Worshiping the devil.
Looks like she's praying, doesn't it? Okay, so this is probably some kind of important ceremony that they have in Mexico. So I should find out what that ceremony is. Ask your Spanish teacher if they know what Flower Day is. So, okay, so serious, what else? What are some other formal occasions? Do you ever talk about when you go to a formal occasion, what would be an example?
Don't mess around.
You don't mess around, right? If you go
You
to
don't
church,
talk.
that's a formal occasion. You don't talk. Okay, there are rules, okay? So you need to be serious, maybe dignified. Usually you dress a certain way, okay? It could be strict. A strict environment would be a formal environment. Stable. Colorful, that could be either, I think. That's okay. Predictable. You kind of know what's going to happen. Like if you go to a wedding. Weddings generally are formal occasions, although these days sometimes there are informal. Can you think? Somebody was telling me about a TV show, Redneck Weddings or something. I didn't know. I haven't seen it. Okay, but I'm guessing that that's not a formal occasion, even though it's a wedding, right? Some people nowadays have changed from formality to informality to get married. And somebody said it was boring when I was standing there, right? Let's look at one more building, or let's look at a building. So we've looked at paintings. Let's look at some architecture and some sculpture. Okay, this sculpture is also from Mexico, and it is a goddess, and so it's very balanced. It's very formal because, oh no, the young man, I'm sorry, I thought that was a man. I didn't read it. He's wearing a headdress depicting his guardian spirit, the goddess Quetzal, an unforgettably beautiful bird. Can you see the bird? There's heads there.
It's over the top.
Yeah, where's the bird? Are these the claws? Anybody figure that maybe the head of the bird is here?
Let's play I Spy.
Okay. Yeah, it's like I Spy. These are like feathers. Okay. So it's a very serious piece because this is kind of a religious piece. Religious occasions tend to be formal occasions. What about this building down here? Oh, I wasn't showing you the... Okay, so that's what we were looking at in sculpture. What about this building?
It is the Federal Reserve Building.
Yes, it is the Federal Reserve Building. What happens at the Federal Reserve Building? Anybody know?
They reserve federal
Government, financial.
Yes, financial. Money. It's about money. Good. All right, so is this building formally balanced?
Yes.
Absolutely. And why would it be formally balanced? What is the federal government communicating to us? Yes.
That it's protected.
Yeah, they're serious about protecting our money, right? They're not messing around, okay? At least that's what they say, okay? And here's another one. If anybody ever watches Desperate Housewives, okay, you will recognize this image here, okay, that they appropriate and use from art. This is showing a formal occasion, which would be a wedding. So this is formally balanced, even though they have different colors. There's awful. Do you know what fidelity is? It means to be faithful. So you see the little doggy there? Dogs often
can't really see it.
look in your book. That's why you have your book. Dogs were often a symbol of fidelity, and that's where the name Fido for a dog comes from. So
Such a bad name.
interesting stuff, huh? All right. So let's go. All right. So that's formal balance. Now let's switch over to informal. And the definition for that is very simple. Maybe turn the page. Oh, and we're not going to do radial balance. That's a kind of formal balance. It's just in a circle. If you take ceramics, though, you will be dealing with radial balance. So it is important in some settings. But informal balance is asymmetry. It can also be called asymmetry, and it involves a balance of unlike objects. So that it's like I just did on the scale where I put unlike objects. You still can balance the scale. So I'm going to put, since I don't have any place to put a slash, I did that twice. What a bad word. 1S, people. I've done that twice today. Okay, asymmetry is how it's said. All right, and it just means a balance of unlike. We're going to say elements because we say elements over here. So they say objects here, but basically we're still talking about elements. Objects are made of elements. Yep, so we're going to say that. All right, so let me show you, now what are some of the things? You saw me be asymmetrical. I didn't fall off the stool. So I was still balanced, but I wasn't balanced symmetrically, okay? So what would you say, informal balance, what does that communicate?
Craziness.
What? It could be stressful,
Exciting.
exciting. I want to show you a building with one of my favorite architects. Can you see it?
Whoa.
Frank Gehry. All right. That is very not symmetrical. How do they do that? It's modern technology that enables them to make buildings like that. I don't know if any of you have ever been to Minneapolis. This building right here is a
So
Is
my
on-
closet looks like.
yeah. It's let me see if I bring it up a little. Oh, let me turn my lights on. Duh. Is that better?
No, I
No.
don't.
You sorry. Okay, turn the lights out for a second. Although then I'm gonna have to. It's gonna mess up recording
Whoa.
because I don't think I can. Oh yeah, I can. Here we go. Hopefully this one. We'll see what happens. Light bulb, come on. Oh, okay. Here we go.
Whoa.
All right. You still can't see it very well.
Looks
Sorry about
better
that.
though.
It looks better. Here's one that's lighter that will probably show it better. So he is a very, very famous architect, and he does all these crazy buildings. This one is actually an art museum in Minneapolis. It's on the campus of the University of and this one is a very, very famous, it's called the Guggenheim, and this is in Spain. There's several Guggenheim museums, but this is the one by Frank Gehry. Okay, so what are some words we could use to describe how that changes? And look at your words on the left. You get the serious, dignified, strict, stable, predictable, boring. What?
Random.
Random.
Crazy.
Normal.
Fun.
Could be fun, crazy,
Spontaneous.
fun, spontaneous, etc., etc. So, and this I think could actually be a little bit more relaxed. You see some pictures in your book of informal balance here and here. I'm sorry.
How's that informal?
How is this informal balance? Because when we put an axis in the middle, it's not the same over here as it is over here. Now, you're saying, but that doesn't even look balanced. I know what you're thinking. Okay? That's to be continued. We're going to talk about informal balance in detail tomorrow. Okay? There's a reason why this is still imbalanced. So we will. We're going to be to be continued. I don't want to get into too much detail today. All right. So then, 35 is going to be. You tell me. Make a composition showing using formal balance. All right, so anything that's pretty much the same on both sides. Here would be an example. Examples from yesterday that we looked at that would be formally balanced. This one, the Last Supper, because it's, Christ is right in the middle. I would say this one is formally balanced. And a lot of the things from the Renaissance are, because that's what they cared about. What about this one? Nope, that's informally balanced. Okay, so there are reasons to do it. So there's a different feel. This is not the same. This is a little more dramatic, isn't it? Where the other ones are maybe a little bit more calm and and serious. They're very serious. I guess she's serious too. She's crawling up a hill, but anyway. So that's what we're going to do today.